Hi, this is Tom and Bonnie Ritter. We have attended St. John Lutheran Church since about 1984. We were just young kids at the time.
The first time I attended St. John, they were meeting at the church in downtown Mansfield, which is now the theater. And the first person to ever walk up and say hello to me was Phyllis Weissite. I will never forget her for that.
We have been blessed to be a part of the growth of St. John Lutheran Church over the years, and certainly pray that that growth will continue and that we'll all continue to receive its blessings. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
I'm Phyllis Weissite. My family came to St. John's in 1983. It's the most friendly place that there ever was, and it was a great pleasure to be in on the ground floor of building this great congregation that we have, and all the fun things that we've got to do together.
Congratulations, St. John. 40 years, and actually 41 for some of us have been here since September and October of 1980. This church started because of an ad in the paper when we had a local paper. And September edition, after my wife had moved here in June 23rd, when it was 100 degrees for over 90 days. So I didn't know what we were doing here at the time, but we saw the message and we went to church, and there was probably about 10 or 12 of us that met at the old bank at that time, which is now the fire station, and this church was started by about 10 or 12 of us in that meeting. For the next couple of months, we met. There was about 17 that started this church. I think we all had the vision that the church would grow because there's only 5,000 people here at that time. And people were moving south of Dallas and Fort Worth because they couldn't go north. So we started the church, and we got help from Synod, and eventually moved on and got into the theater in downtown, the old BGO Theater. And of course we didn't have much room, but we didn't have many people either at the time. So we started there for a year or two, and we had our meetings in the projection room of the council at that time, and started there. So that's my really old memory of the church, and the being upstairs in that projection room. And then of course we moved on and things, and we got property, and so many people got involved, and we've been very fortunate, and we've had very good preachers and ministers since that time with Pastor Belts, and we had interim preachers before that, but with Pastor Belts was our first main preacher, and then Pastor Dash came.
Story for y'all before I leave for the day. Linda was less than a year old. She was drinking a bottle. We were at church, and keep in mind it's the old theater and the floors were sloped. She was throwing a fit. I handed her her bottle. She did not want that bottle. She threw that bottle, and it proceeded to roll all the way down the floor under all the pews and everything, and landed at the pastor's feet. I think it's Pastor Lukey at the time. He bent down, picked up the bottle, and said, "You want this?" I sort of turned so red. But yes, I did go get the bottle.
I would be curious. Yes. I wanted to ask this. Was there ever a time, what do you think was the hardest part? Because planning a church is not easy. What do you think was the hardest part? Or was there a time that you really weren't sure you guys were going to make it, or you guys were on the right track?
I always felt like in my heart that we were on the right track and that we were going to make it. I knew there was going to be rough times. Probably the hardest part was making the dedication of time to clean up the building, to build the inside out to fit our needs, and to make the commitment to go up every week to improve on it. And we had to clean it every week before service too, so it was just time, commitment of time. But the love was there, and we wanted to do it, and we were all dedicated to the cause. So it made it easy.
When Tricia and I decided to move to the Metroplex in 1993, before buying a house, we wanted to find a church home. Our previous church was over 30 minutes from our house, and we wanted to be much closer to our church than we were when we lived in Houston. The very first church that we visited was St. John. Our daughter was only a few months old, and when we walked into the doors, Rick Castorino's daughter, Tara, asked if she could hold her. And that was the last time we saw her until the service was over and we were ready to leave. At the time, the church only worshiped around 120 on a Sunday morning, but there were always tons of kids. Everyone was so friendly and welcoming, we knew immediately that St. John was our new church home. We have so many great memories from our early years participating in Fall Fest and other fellowship opportunities, spending hours painting when our first building expansion was done, watching fireworks from the church parking lot and with other members, Saturday work days, VBS, and sending our kids there and learning all the songs that they came home with. Everything from Wednesday night programs, Trisha's rehearsals for sanctuary choir, handbells and praise team. We even had a children's Christmas program one year that was a whole lot of fun for everybody involved, and then our kids obviously going through confirmation. We have been truly blessed with so many wonderful friendships as a result of being a member at St. John. I think the most gratifying thing, though, is to see how God has transformed so many lives over the years as we've grown from a small church into a much larger church with more opportunities to reach larger numbers of people within our community and even now around the world. The pastors in the congregation at St. John have always been willing to follow where the Holy Spirit has led, even when we weren't exactly sure what that would look like or where the money was coming from or where the people resources would come from. But in each and every instance, God has always provided. And we are just excited to see where God will be leading St. John over the next 40 years. Thank you.
Hello, we're Larry and Barb Gunderson. We're charter members of the church. What an awesome 40 years we've experienced, starting with the Bijou Theater to our current church.
We had recently moved to Mansfield. We were going to church in Arlington, but it was too far to go with 2 little kids, and we just didn't connect. We were so excited to join a group of people starting a Lutheran church in Mansfield. We were blessed with the Bijou Theater. We cleaned it out, out the popcorn machine, and made it ready for the first services. Lots of work, lots of love, and lots of junk. We had Sunday school rooms on the stage and upstairs in the projection area. Our daughter Michelle was confirmed by Pastor People and our son Paul by the vicar. We had Christmas programs, Christmas services, lovely poinsettias, Christmas trees covered with handmade Christmas ornaments. And of course the choir sang. The new chapel was built with Laborers for Christ. We had Saturday morning potlucks for the whole congregation, anybody who wanted to bring food. They were amazing. There was lots of food and it was always wonderful. Our daughter Michelle was married in the chapel and 2 of our grandchildren were baptized there. As we continued to grow, we watched all the blessings our church provided. More space was needed for Sunday school, preschool, services, and people. What a blessing.
God has provided wonderful faith leaders. We appreciate them all and thank God for the comfort and the blessings they have provided. We never envisioned what was started 40 years ago would grow into the church that it is today.
40 years of wonderful and amazing blessings. Thank you, St. John.
Thank you, St. John.
Hi, this is Chuck and Jerry Joyce. We've been members since '89. We and our son Chad moved here in '89, and we were told that the church was on Main Street. So we went up and down Main Street, and we even checked the alley and couldn't find it. And then Chuck was so excited, he called from work one time and said that he found it. It was in the country, and it really was in the country then. We've had such a good time and so many blessings from St. John. The Fall Fest, and we used to go there and watch fireworks that they would set off at the high school because there was nothing in between. And Chuck was a treasurer, and we were ushers, and I was there at the beginning of Mother's Day Out. So I taught the little ones in Sunday school and Mother's Day Out, and I was a director for a little while. And is there anything else we need to say?
Nope.
Well, we're just happy about everything about St. John, and it's been such a blessing to us.
Hello, this is Don Higgins and Sheila Gibson. I have been a member of St. John Lutheran Church for 26 years, and Sheila has been a member for 35 years, going on 36. I have been an elder under Terry Belts and have served as usher, greeter in the building committee as well. And Sheila and I both enjoyed being members of the Tarrant Lutheran Chorale that is no longer active.
Don and I met in February of '95. We actually didn't really see each other for a while for different circumstances, not beyond our control, until October of '95. And then we married in December of '96 in the original chapel building, which is now been converted to offices. And in that time, when the first building was built, where the chapel was, I was honored to turn one of the first shovels of dirt in that building. And Garland Clark, who has passed on, he and his wife, Valet, were instrumental in helping with a lot of the construction of that building. And the meditation area that we still have at the end of the hallway where the offices are is a portion of what was originally the chapel and the meditation area that has been reserved now for people to go and have prayer and quiet meditation. Don and I were pleased to be able to sing with the Tarrant Lutheran Chorale for several years, and we actually toured Europe with Peace Lutheran Church and their choral group that was put together as a part of our honeymoon when we married in December of '96. We toured Europe then in June and actually sang in different Lutheran churches in Germany for 2 weeks.
Yes. And we've enjoyed being members of St. John, the friendly people that are there, just having a church home that we can enjoy has been a blessing to us.
We've been there, obviously, since the old Bijou Theater when I joined. And the irony about that is when Terry Belts was there, and I was single at the time looking for a church to serve in and to worship in, he asked me with his boots up on the table or his desk, which was positioned and built behind the what was once the stage of the old Bijou Theater, with 3 buckets catching water around his desk. He said, "Why is it that you would want to join St. John?" Well, I'd visited 5 different Lutheran churches, and I said, I'd really like to join a church where I could get involved and try to make a difference. And he looked at me and he said, as he looked at the 3 buckets catching the rain, "Lady, I think you came to the right place." And obviously, I did.
Obviously, I did.
So we're pleased to be members of St. John now together for
26 years.
Okay. So we're happy to be participating in the tribute for the Founders Luncheon today on July 17th. And we look forward to further participation with all of you in the upcoming events that are planned for the 40th anniversary of St. John Lutheran Church. So thank you for this opportunity, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.